What's going on, everybody? Today we are going to do 3 players every team should keep and 3 players every team should sell. And today we're doing Liverpool. Now, we are not going to be doing any players that are not realistically going to go. So players like Alisson, who have just joined the club last year or two. No real rumors of him leaving, no real interest. He's not on the list of players to keep, even though obviously Liverpool ought to be keeping him. So players who have only been linked with moves away or the fans get fed up with, that kind of stuff, will only be in the list. So we're going to start. 3 players Liverpool should keep. Number 1, Joel Matip. Now, Joel Matip has been very recently linked with a £50 million move to PSG. Maybe not necessarily a starter. So, I mean, when you think about things like that, £50 million for someone who does not start, maybe that's a good bit of business, but in this case, I wouldn't be doing it. Now, he's probably third choice behind Gomez and Van Dijk, but when he plays, he very much steps in, and it's just like normal. He is a very, very good center back. He has his issues, of course, injuries being one of the main ones. He's injured quite often, but a player who, especially after the sale of Lovren and no one's come in yet, I definitely would not be moving on. Number 2, Naby Keita. Now, Naby Keita, this one's kind of fallen off a little bit. In January, this would have been much more rampant in terms of rumors and things, but he has had a very good second half to the season. And since Liverpool have come back, you know, he's been playing pretty well. A lot of players who were trying to gel in to clubs, or managers who were trying to gel into clubs, and teams who were trying to gel with one another, had help, quite a bit of help with the off season there. United seemed to get a little bit better. The passing was definitely much better when they came out. Naby Keita, as we said. Liverpool also had another player who played a little bit better coming out and seems a little bit more confident, Minamino. But Naby Keita been linked with a variety of different clubs in Europe, especially in January. And with Thiago coming in, you know, a lot of people are wondering how many midfielders they're going to be here to fit into that gap. And Naby Keita should be one of them and should be at minimum getting more play time than he did last year. He had a very good second half of the season, and hopefully he stays injury-free and he can push on from that. But Naby Keita being the second player Liverpool should keep. And the third player Liverpool should keep, Ryan Brewster. Now, some Liverpool fans may like this, may not like this. I'm a Liverpool fan myself, so I understand where people are coming from with this, but I do not think Liverpool are going to go out and spend 30, 40, 50 million pounds on a striker. I just don't. I think they may go after a winger and a center back, and I think that may be it. I'm not seeing them going after a striker, especially one that is rather expensive. So I firmly believe that Brewster should stay if that is the case. If you're going to bring in another striker, he should go out on loan, I think, at another year. He had a really good second half there with Swansea. But if we're not bringing in another striker, Ryan Brewster should stay. Back up Firmino, have a goal scorer on the bench perhaps, and, you know, just integrate more with the team, which is always good for young players. Now, 3 players Liverpool should sell. Number 1. Now, this one's a bit of a dual one. Shaqiri or Harry Wilson. One of those two, for me, should go. Now, if they're going to bring in another winger, Harry Wilson, I think, could do that job. But I think you could get a player as good or better of Harry Wilson if you're going to sell him for the money that they think they're going to get him for. Now, plenty of articles saying that Liverpool would move on Grujic and Harry Wilson should a bid above £20 million come in, and if nothing does come in, then they'll stay with the squad. They've no more loans for those two, so that's I would probably move on Harry Wilson, get the money in perhaps, or Shaqiri, someone who's obviously frustrated with his playing time. It's difficult to get in on the front 3. It's going to be very difficult to get in and play on the front 3. Klopp doesn't like him playing in the middle because we're kind of a little bit more open. It's tough. So one of those two I think should go, and then I think they're going to bring in another winger anyway, and I think they're going to move on one of those two in the end. Number 2, Marko Grujic, another player who was on that list there. And Marko Grujic is one of the players I have to leave, not because he is a bad player or anything, but because he doesn't bring anything extra to the midfield we already have, and the midfield we have is very, very good as of now. He's out there training currently with the squad out in Austria. And Klopp is obviously getting a good look at him while he's there, but I don't think Grujic brings anything spectacular to what we have already. I don't think he brings anything different to what we have already. He's a very good midfielder in his own right, but is he good enough to displace the midfield talent we have now or have anything, unique to bring? I don't think so. I think if they're going to get more than £20 million, they might as well go out and get that. And number 3, this one is the obvious one, Loris Karius. He's currently training with the team. Whether he sticks around to be the third choice keeper, I just don't see it. I don't think Liverpool would bother with the wages. I think they would probably prefer to move him on. They only spent $10 million on him, so moving him on for £5-6 million, it's probably a win in that book, especially after the way his career has gone. And it's tough because he was having a really pretty good year before that final. But you always felt it coming. You always kind of felt it coming, and maybe he turned a corner. Maybe we get through the final and nothing's his fault, and he stays, and he, that kind of thing happens, and his confidence goes up, and he becomes a really good goalkeeper. But 2 really bad mistakes. It obviously hit him really hard, and then he went to Turkey on loan. They have their whole payment problem, and he was also making a couple mistakes here and there, and people were calling him out, and he was fighting back, and it's just a big snowball that continues to get bigger and bigger. He needs to find a place that will accept him and let him gain his confidence back, and hopefully his career can get back on track. But not at Liverpool, I don't think, especially with Alisson and Adrian. It's just better off to move a third choice goalkeeper on if you have the ability to. So Loris Karius being the third player, I would move on, guys. But we're going to do this for all the Premier League teams. So let me know how you guys feel in the comments down below, and I will see you guys next time.